Having green space, having nature is really important for us as a people. Even just looking out your window 15 minutes out of every day and looking at trees, that makes you much healthier, much more relaxed. Diversity is so important when we're talking about plants especially. The more diversity you have, the more different plant species you have in an area, the more birds you'll have, the more wildlife you'll have. You'll have just a more functioning ecosystem, a better ecosystem. An invasive species is a plant that was introduced from elsewhere in the world, and it's causing problems. Those problems could be economic problems, they could be health problems, they could be bad for nature, bad for wildlife. Invasive plants get introduced into natural environments largely because we introduce them. We bring them in for our gardens. We bring them in because they're good for agriculture. Sometimes we bring them in accidentally. They just hitchhike on our clothing, on our cars. For the Rouge River watershed, we really look at plants like honeysuckle, buckthorn, Phragmites, and garlic mustard as our biggest problems in the natural areas around us. We don't see as much wildlife where they're at. We also have natural areas that aren't nearly as beautiful to be in. Where you once had open forest understories where you could see, way in the distance, instead you have these shrub walls where you can't see farther than 10 feet into the woods. And so your open wood walk that you once enjoyed is now this claustrophobic experience. I think the biggest thing that people could do to help solve the invasive species problem is to stop planting them. A lot of plants that are invasive in our natural areas are still sold and planted in our community environments. Plants like Dame's rocket, Japanese barberry, and English ivy. The other thing is that most people's yards have invasive plants in them that were planted 50 years ago, 20 years ago, yesterday. So taking the time to figure out what's in your yard and what is happening in the natural areas nearby and acting on it is really important. As you learn more about the native plants growing in natural areas around you, you can work to bring those native plants home right in your own backyard. One great way to do this is by planting native plants in a rain garden. Those native plants will attract butterflies and birds and pollinators for your kids and your grandkids to explore and enjoy. Rain gardens also help keep pollution out of our natural areas, pollution that helps invasive species to take over. We should all care about invasive species because really we have so much power to shape the world around us these days. And with that power comes a great deal of responsibility to make sure that the decisions that we're making are going to give us the future that we want to see. And I think if you ask anyone out there, they want to see a future that has, clean water, that has beautiful natural areas, that has birds and butterflies, and for them to enjoy and for their children to enjoy.